And happy Halloween, everybody. I am Captain Joe Dove, and welcome to the Captain's Quadrant. We're having a ball with some new faces as we have guests, and we're excited to have both Jeff Howell and Holodeck Hoss, which I now pronounce your name so I don't mess it up.
Nzinga Holodeck Hose. Yes.
Okay, Holodeck Hose. All right,
yes.
Welcome. And you look great. You look like you're ready for Halloween.
I did specifically get this for Halloween.
Nice.
Yes.
Love it. Ironically, so did I. And I have the Strange New Worlds Monster Maroon, but I was going to wear that today, but I left it at my office.
I have a whole other gripe that I'm not going to get into about costumes for Star Trek and women. A whole other gripe. Because you have options. I'll put it like that.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. There's a TikToker that does cosplay mostly in Star Trek, and she complains profusely about the fact that none of the costumes. She has found a couple of creators on Etsy that do some female-based Star Trek uniforms, but they're not
that great.
They're not. No, those are fine, but there aren't female versions of these costumes are not very readily available.
Yeah. Right. Like looking for the costumes, when you look, there are probably about like 30 men's costumes and not even exaggerating 3 women's costumes. Like it's like, here you go. That's it.
That's always terrible.
Yeah.
I'm going to say hello to our friends. I'm going to start with a new face. Maduzi Mali. Hello. Oh, nice. Good to see you. Wes. Good to see you, my friend. Happy Halloween.
Oh. There's Wes.
There's Wes. My Figure Universe again. Greetings and salutations to you. Karen McLeod, good to see you. Trick or treat. We're going to go with trick because we're in the agony booth. And of course, Holly Mac 79. So good to see you.
Oh, no. How's with Skansen?
How's with Skansen? We, of course, want to say hello to our patrons. We want to say hello to Holly Mac 79, of course, as she is in the room. And we're so glad to see her here in the chat. We also want to say hello to Johannes Borg. Good to see you, buddy. I know you're lurking because you are famous for that. We want to say hello to Denise Hill and Joe Ciparito. So good to see all of you. Good to hear that you're not bad. And we're going to get into an episode of Star Trek Voyager called Fury. We're going to get into all the fun things, but first, since Jason Roy Gaston is not here, I will do the honors, and I got my glasses to make sure I can read the synopsis. An incensed Cass returns to Voyager to travel back in time and abduct her younger self, inadvertently causing a younger Tuvok to experience procognitive hallucinations. Oh boy. Yeah, that's what happened here. All right, well, we're going to hop right into WTF did we just watch? Holodeck, you probably weren't prepared for the hanging fruit of the captain, so we made sure to blur it out and make sure nobody gets an unhappy Halloween surprise. All right, we're gonna start off with you.
I've seen plenty. It's fine.
What is your first impression of this episode? WTF did we just watch?
I didn't really understand why Cass was angry to begin with.
Yes, that's very probably with Rick Berman.
That tends to happen. That was my first impression. When I started watching it, I was just kind of like, why? I don't get the energy used to do the things that happen in the episode.
Right.
And it was very oddly paced.
Yeah.
So I feel like it kept almost jumping back and forth between Cass and Tuvok, which it did as the 2 storylines, but like it never actually explained either storyline. And when they started kind of getting to the point where they just like jump back to it was weird. It was weird.
Very weird.
Yeah.
I don't know why they did a lot of the things they did, and I never will. Jeff, first contact. WTF did we just watch?
Listen, man, I almost wonder if you talked to Vorab and said, hey, Jeff Jeff doesn't like Voyager, so make sure you get him on a Voyager episode.
Listen, the lovely thing about our show, it is 100% left to the wheel, and it's all random, and we have no sway of how.
I know it is. I know the very first Star Trek: The Undiscovered podcast episode I was on was about Voyager, and I said then
pain already.
What's that?
I can hear your pain already.
Yeah, and I said then, I said, look, I love any and all Trek, right? With the exception of maybe Section 31. I will rewatch and enjoy pretty much anything that has been produced because any Trek is better than no Trek. And there are many good things about Voyager that I appreciate. I do, and I won't get into that now, but it's just this particular episode is just trash, man. It's meaningless. There's no purpose to it. There's no point other than to have a filler episode towards the end of season 6 to say, oh, hey, remember Jennifer Lean? Hey, she's back.
So one of the things that happened in the episode that I thought was going to cause some really cool nerd, oh, wow, this is going to happen, is when she had these powers where she can just kind of go, no, and just blow up stuff and knock people over. It's like, oh, okay. So when she finally came across 7 of 9 and was like, hey, you replaced me for no reason, I thought there was going to be something there, and there wasn't. It was such a disappointment. It was like, what? Missed opportunity?
Yeah.
I like that bumper. We don't get to use it that
much. When we were talking about this, I texted you. Remember, I said, "Hey, I think this episode should have just been Jennifer Lean for 48 minutes, burning Rick Berman and Michael Piller in effigy."
Yeah, that's what it should have been.
That would have been more enjoyable,
probably. If you are watching for the first time, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. You have to do all those fun things when you do a show like this, and be sure to ring the bell to make sure that people are aware and you're notified of when our episode drops. All right. For me, what did we watch? We watched an episode where we thought we was going to be a returning cast and there would be hugs all around and maybe there'd be some special moment with Neelix, but instead we got a 2-second flashback of a conversation and oh man, you're leaving already with Neelix. So I don't know what happened there. And having spoken with the good Mr. Ethan Phillips, it's weird to not have that moment on screen because he did care for her behind the scenes and a lot of the things that she was going through. I felt like he kind of wanted to, help out in his own way. So I really don't get why they did it this way. I think that they wanted to do something shocking. It was a shock and awe moment. I think that was the goal because you're seeing, oh, Cass is friendly. And then all of a sudden she's destroying the ship. So I think that had a lot to do with, that's what we watched. A weird pull at the ratings because it's Sweeps Week back in the day. You guys remember Sweeps?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think this was a Sweeps type of thing. It was like, hey, I think so. I really do.
Well, wait, episode 23 of season 6 would have been.
I
guess that would have been around Sweeps. You're right.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know my TV, man. I'm old. So I think that's one of the main reasons why we got this episode. It was just something to razzle dazzle and surprise everybody because no one expects the cast to come and destroy the ship.
But it's kind of an old played out trope though, where you take like this very sensitive, sweet woman that everybody loves and then you make her evil. So it was like, even watching the episode, I don't know, man, that episode was trash. I agree. I agree with Jeff.
Yeah,
I fully agree. It wasn't
believable.
No, because there was no actual basis for the whole reasoning behind the episode. There was none. It was just she came back and it was like Game of Thrones when Khaleesi just like switched, right? And it didn't really make any sense. Like there was no writing to explain that. It's the same thing. Kes comes back and now she's evil Kes because she's angry that she can't go home because she has power. I don't understand.
And the other thing that bothered me is why did she just team up with the paper mache face guy? Like
the
Vaj or Viridian or something like that.
They were like Viridian. It was something like that.
It was like something Viridian or
the Vidians.
The Vidians, yes.
There you go, close enough.
Yeah, they were so forgettable that I couldn't even remember. I just saw it like 20 minutes ago. The Vaj? No, that's from Doctor Who. But yeah, it was just unforgettable. The only thing I remember that stuck out to me was how crappy the makeup was for that particular episode. It was just like, hey, let's put paper mache together and glue it to this guy's face. I felt like they were kind of phoning it in a lot. And it kind of got annoying to me on how badly they were phoning it in, because you've got a main character dying in the beginning. They killed off B'Elanna, and you're like, oh, wait a minute. Nobody gave a crap about killing off B'Elanna. Like, B'Elanna's dead, man. Like, what's going on? Everybody's like, guess so Cass, what are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
Cass just killed B'Elanna.
You do see a little bit of a reaction from Nick Locarno. Tom Paris.
Who?
where Seven says, "Oh, B'Elanna's dead," and of course Tom is like, "Oh my gosh," but that's it. And then it cuts to, I think that's the end of the cold open, and it's like, all right. Here's all right. See, here's my biggest issue with this episode. And it has everything to do with Jennifer Lean. And listen, people have crapped on her enough, and she's struggled, post 2002, unfortunately, and I feel bad for her. But she, as an actor, just did not have the chops to pull off what the writers were trying to go for here. She didn't have the chops for that. I mean, she was already a very one-note kind of actor anyway. And she has a hard time emoting. She doesn't do a whole lot of facial acting. And again, that's not a knock on her. There's obviously a niche for actors like that. And I think, in a different world, she might have found much more success. And she did some voice acting that she was very good at. But I just feel like she just couldn't carry this episode. This was her episode. This was her showcase, her spotlight, and she couldn't do it.
She dropped
none of it was believable. She had those moments of acting like Christine in the hallways where she's blowing up the neural gel packs in the bulkheads, and I'm like, I don't believe any of this.
You know what, though? Like, honestly, I feel like, and this is watching this in isolation, right? Because I have not done a rewatch of Voyager. I have not watched Voyager in years. So in isolation, watching this, I feel like a lot of it was really the direction and the writing that was given. And it was the same issue that other treks have had, especially beginning off, where there are writing and directing issues. And you look at the acting and it's like, this is very mid, and in later seasons it's a lot better. And I get it that we're like in season 6 of Voyager, but even just the conversation we had earlier where Voyager is a lot of times people's least favorite trek, that may have a lot to do with it, on top of the way that women are typically portrayed in trek. So and she was definitely supposed to be that trope in the episode itself. So having her come back and it's like, okay, now you're evil Cass, is like, this is how you play evil Cass. And it doesn't really translate well.
It falls flat.
Yeah.
And I really feel like I got to ask you this question. Being that this was the first female captain that we get to really experience in Star Trek, do you feel like they kind of didn't give the proper writing to Star Trek Voyager comparably with Next Generation and Deep Space Nine?
So out of all of them, DS9 is damn near flawless to me.
Yep.
Like, DS9 is incredible. TNG gets better, but TNG had a lot of writing issues. I think at the end of the day, one of the biggest issues is you have a lot of men who are in the writing room who are trying to write roles based on, this is what a female captain would behave, like how they would behave to me. This is what they would look like to me. And I don't think that that's something that's unusual for Star Trek, period, when you have women who are supposed to be in powerful roles. Mm-hmm. So as far as the overall show writing goes, I kind of tend to think that the show itself was a cash grab. And so it was probably a little bit of, hey, like, let's keep pumping them out. Because Voyager came out, and I do not remember the order, but I know when I was a little kid to like a teenager, there were like, it was Voyager, DS9, or DS9, TNG, and Voyager, like pretty much back to back.
Right.
And there were no breaks in between. It was like they just kept doing them. And every single time they did something that was a little edgier, right? So it's like you had TNG, which was supposed to be like, hey, we're back from TOS. And then DS9, you have a black captain. And that was the first captain of color that you saw. Mm-hmm. And then Voyager, you have a female captain. And it was almost like they were trying to like, hey, like, how can we keep the fan base coming back? Like, how can we be a little edgier when we do this? And Voyager just...
Well, here's... let me set a little stage here. And I'm not trying to show up anybody or I'm just kind of presenting some nerd facts that I just know from each of these series. So there is a stark contrast between those three shows, because you had TNG, which is the one that is supposed to bring a new generation of fans to this great thing called Star Trek. And DS9 was proposed as something completely different. And while Michael Piller, who was a showrunner on TNG and Voyager, did the first 2 seasons of DS9, it wasn't until Ira Steven Behr came on board as the showrunner where DS9 really got deep into character development and made itself a vastly different type of show. Well, the problem is a lot of people didn't like the fact that DS9 was on a space station and didn't really go out and do a whole lot of the exploration or Planet of the Week or Alien of the Week issues that TNG had. So Voyager came out, and instead of it being a rehash of TNG, that's why they threw it into the Delta Quadrant. So they could have a vastly different group of aliens and planets that they can visit. Mm-hmm. But the similarities are that Michael Piller and Rick Berman were the showrunners for Voyager, as same as TNG. The problem is that they tried to recapture the same lightning in the bottle that they had with TNG, and they completely fell flat. And then they sort of relied on these old gimmicks that they saw that worked with TNG, but didn't work with Voyager because of the type of cast that they put together. They brought the Borg in. There were certain times where you'd see, you had a Ferengi in Voyager. You had some of these other things. You had, Commander Riker show up in a guest appearance, and you had Q show up a couple of times. So they kind of relied on the same kind of shtick that TNG had, but it didn't work because they never set any kind of stage or precedent within Voyager that made it make sense. And so then all of a sudden it relies on these gimmicks over time, and so some of the stories fall flat. And again, this is one of those, I think Fury is one of those episodes where that happens, where they're like, well, maybe let's call back to a character that hasn't been on for a couple seasons and there's been some controversy, and let's just bring her back and see, let people know that there's no hard feelings and all that kind of stuff. And then they make Jennifer Lean or cast a powerful character to try and compensate for the fact that she was, kind of a weak character the first 3 seasons, and it just didn't work.
Right. I mean, a lot of that also has to do with a lot of the things going on behind the scenes, the political intrigue that was happening.
Yes.
The headbutting, so to speak, between the captain and one of the other cast members, which I won't get into, but there's a lot of well-written historical basis in that. And I think that did affect a lot of it, because that for this episode and a few other episodes in this season, that character got like a minor role. like it was pushed in the back, even though it was this big thing to have 7 of 9 on the ship. And I think that's why she got such a big light in Picard.
Right. And I think that speaks to the fact that the chemistry with Voyager wasn't the same as it was on DS9 and TNG. It was just obvious.
Yeah. I also think, you know what I think is missing mostly in Voyager? Klingons. Klingons just make Star Trek, man. I don't know.
No, I'm down for that.
Yeah, are you
I honestly
love Klingon, hate Klingon? Where are you on Klingons?
So I do like Klingons.
Yeah.
I kind of low-key love the Ferengi.
Oh, really?
But yes, but it's like after DS9, just I kind of low-key love the Ferengi because they're funny. They're funny as hell.
Yeah.
But I do love the Klingons too, and the Klingons definitely have their times where you could get a couple of chuckles out of them, but it's randomly the Ferengi.
Wow, Ferengi of all things. But I love it. I love it because
they're pragmatic. They're like weird and pragmatic, and just like they're super capitalist, but it's fine.
Yeah, and also like they were the Republicans in space, like.
But also one of the only characters that had the most complete arc of all of Star Trek was a Ferengi.
Rom.
He had Nog.
Oh, Rom, yeah, Nog too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it goes from a kid that couldn't read and was a troublemaker in the first episode of DS9 to being a lieutenant junior grade at the very end. He just had a very complete and a well thought out, well constructed arc. And
Space Nine.
I mean, again, all of this just speaks to
Ira Burr's writing and how he handled everything. I think I don't know why they didn't pass the reins to him, because I felt like DS9 was so
power. It definitely and I mean, and I'm making assumptions with this, but to Jeff's point, even with the writing for Voyager, looking at Voyager, and I said it before, like watching those first few seasons of TNG, you can actually tell visibly and physically when the director changes and when they get a new writer on cast. Like you can actually feel it in the episode. Watching the episode, it was like season 3, like I want to say it was like a little bit earlier on in season 3, and I was like, man, this doesn't even feel like the same show, and it just gets like so much better from there, right?
Yeah.
And then you have the problematic writers that are kind of writing for Voyager, where I don't personally think, I'm going to get crucified, I don't think they're the greatest writers in the world. So they have a tendency to go back to the same tropes over. I mean, every single Star Trek, they go back to the same tropes over and over again, and keep using and kind of recycling certain things. And you're talking about the vastness of space and having that imagination to write whatever you want. And they do a great job, but stuff like this episode made me want to throw a shoe at the TV, because I was like, this is the best that you could come up with.
Yeah.
Like your imagination is your limit. And this was the best you could come up with for this episode. It felt, I don't know. It was just very disjointed.
There were no stakes. There were no, you knew that it was going to work out in the end, because you knew B'Elanna wasn't going to stay dead.
Yeah. It was an empty, if they had put a thought into the death and had a funeral and stuff like that, maybe I would have been like, oh wow, did they kill her off? But then it was just like, B'Elanna's dead, so we're gonna get Cass, and like it was just a throwaway. So I knew
it would have taken too much time in the episode though, because they were spending so much time with her talking to the wrinkly face dude, paper mache face, the episode, and then getting like her and Neelix's relationship too is just weird to me. Like I was watching it, I'm just like, ew. But the way it goes, like I think that even the way that they did cut it, where it was just like, hey, B'Elanna's dead. Yeah. And it's like dun 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 dun, and it just like goes directly into the theme of the episode. And it was essentially the writer saying, like, B'Elanna's not really dead, you guys. It's fine. And which begs the question, why would you even write it then? What's the purpose of writing it?
Or I'm glad you said that, because that brings us to our next segment.
Yeah,
yes,
precisely.
Why would they do that? It's all shit. Jeff, you were going to say something. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say then, how does Tuvok fit in all this? Because while, yes, it has been clearly established that he has sonic abilities, psychic ability. I mean, he's one of the few. Well, all right. The standard for how much of that ability Vulcans have sort of started with Tuvok, and it was sort of retconned, back especially with like T'Pol in the Enterprise era, about where that came from, but it didn't fit. It's like I didn't feel like as though that this episode of Voyager even followed their own rules that they set for these abilities. I guess the closest thing that I could see where these abilities sort of made sense was the episode Flashback, where they went back to Tuvok's time on the Excelsior,
which was great.
Which is a great episode, and it was a backdoor pilot to a Sulu series, which I wish they had picked up.
Same,
but it still didn't feel like it meshed with those same mechanics that they had established. It didn't make any sense. And, for Tuvok to just blurt out that, oh, hey, the Delta Flyer can do this. And then nobody say anything about it.
What?
Yeah. What it's sort of like they just let that go. And then all of a sudden, a few scenes later, you see Tuvok in the ready room, apologizing and then explaining all of these other things that happened. And then Janeway's like, okay, well, sure. Let's put a sensor tube around you to track all your movements and catalog sensor data, so we can use this later. As none of it made any sense.
I did feel like she was kind of suspicious of there being some sort of a temporal anomaly, though, when he did say that to her, because she immediately goes to the doctor and violates every single HIPAA rule, and she's like, "Hey, is she pregnant?"
Yeah, she went in, man. He was like, "What's your problem?"
Every single one. I was like, "Ma'am, why don't you just go ask her?" But okay, but that whole thing even was just kind of like, okay, well, she knows that there's something up, right? She was definitely suspicious of it. I don't think that they wrote it in a way that was very, very obvious that she was already starting to connect some dots. But I think, to your point, the issue that I have with Tuvok in the whole, I can sense what's happening, was it was a temporal anomaly, not a psychic anomaly. So Kes has telekinetic powers, right? So she has telekinesis, she has psychic abilities, yay, whatever, right? But you have to assume that, considering Tuvok has been around Tess before, her psychic abilities aren't necessarily messing with his directly. So the thing that was different in this situation was the temporal, what did they call them? They call them temporal, I'm going to make it up, temporal ions or whatever the hell they called them. It was
tachyons.
Yeah, there we go. Which I guess they made it up too. But
pseudoscience all the way.
Right.
There are precedents for tachyon particles.
There are, but I don't think tachyon particles are temporal in nature.
No.
But that whole idea of, okay, there's been some sort of an anomaly, a time anomaly, right? Mm-hmm. That has nothing to do with psychic. I think they would have done better to write some sort of an explanation for why he was aware of it, versus leaning in on, it's because he has psychic abilities. If it were, he has the most control over his emotions, so he wasn't easily fooled by they could have came up with something. And again, limit your imagination.
Exactly. And since he's a Vulcan, and since he's almost 100 years old, as they said in the beginning, to establish the precedence of Vulcans aging differently than humans, I also think that, and they also leaned on that other episode with Sulu, whereas he can go and into his memory banks and kind of fluctuate in his own time travel in his own space, which if they would have just kind of ironed that out a little bit more, I think it would have been better. But
none of that still made any sense, because there is no established connection between Kes and Tuvok.
Correct.
Would have initiated any psychic connection that he would have sensed that he was slipping through time. None of it have been established.
Correct.
I think if what it is though is it's like you explain why he was sensitive to the temporal anomaly itself. So not necessarily Kes and her psychic powers, but there was an actual time slip that happened. I can't talk, sorry y'all, but there was like an actual time slip that happened that he could have been aware of, where, like, you know, I feel like I did this yesterday or 5 years ago, maybe, you know. So,
no, and I see what you're saying, and I think there is. I see that could potentially be what they're explaining it as, but even then, why? What is it about this Kes instance that makes him slip back and forth in time? It just none of it, like the mechanics just didn't make any sense, I guess. But I see what you're saying though, Nziga.
I'm saying they should have probably explained it that way, because I mean, even when they were looking for the Techions, Janeway not Janeway, who was she talking to? Tuvok. No, she wasn't. I can't remember who she was talking to, but was essentially like Chakotay. It's super rare. Like, look for the Techions, and it's like Techions, like what? Like, he's super surprised because it's so rare to find those particles, because those particles are only present during some sort of a time anomaly, right? So that to me is where I think the writers kind of lost an opportunity even to possibly kind of expand on the abilities of the Vulcans to be able to explain it away, where it's like, hey, this is why Tuvok is the one on the ship that knows that something is different with these particles, and we never encountered it before because it's never happened before.
Right.
Yeah, and I think that they relied, again, on an old trope that was established in, say, TNG, where they've used tachyon particles in the past for other things. Some of it time-related, some of them not. But it was kind of lazy writing that they just said, oh, we tachyons, people will recognize that term. Like, come on.
The fake pseudoscience that we made up in TNG, tachyons. Or maybe it was even before that, during the, what do you call it, Star Trek 4. I think that was the first time I've ever heard tachyons, because when they took the bounty back in time to go to hang out in San Francisco to pick up some whales.
They had
them at the zoo, apparently.
You still got love Star Trek, though. We would not be on phone. Well, I wouldn't be on my phone. Y'all are probably on computers if it were not for Star Trek. It definitely
see, some things around. The thing, and I said this at the very top of our show, is that any Star Trek is better than nothing. And I, even though there are certain things that I don't like or I disagree with, and Voyager being one of those things, it just says to me, though, that there are varying levels of creativity that are produced. Like, just because I don't particularly like something doesn't mean that there's other people that don't love Voyager. And I know that there are a ton of people that do. And that's one of the greatest things about this community, is that we can sit here and talk and debate and say, hey, I didn't really like that so much, but I can tell that you love it, and let's find some common ground about things that we do love about these particular shows. I mean, there's over 800 hours of content, and invariably there's going to be things that you don't like about it. But that's, again, the beauty of this Star Trek world, the content, and the creators that we interact with, is that we can all sit here and have these discussions. And I'm not going to bust on somebody for them saying that they love Voyager and I don't, and that's totally fine.
Yeah. I always felt there were ups and downs in Voyager, to take a play from Sean Farrick, our mutual friend, of course, a friend to everybody that's online doing Star Trek, an inspiration to us all. Yeah. But the whole world of Voyager, I felt like we got an opportunity to see a lot of different things that we otherwise wouldn't have, like a Klingon hybrid. Because we got Worf, who was a Klingon, and we had his son Alexander, who was also a Klingon, just young, that was always forgotten about. And you go to Worf, hey Worf, how's your son? Who? So
who's Alexander?
How's Alexander doing? What?
Who?
Hamilton? So
Not Hamilton.
Hamilton, what's he doing? Is he on the ship?
Never heard of her.
I just feel like they did get an opportunity to explore with new technologies that they ended up using heavily in the future, like the doctor, the EMH program. I thought that was fun, except when she turned him off. Turn the EMH program off. It's like, we're trying to have a conversation, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, that was out of character for Janeway.
It was.
She wouldn't normally have done that. And
she deleted the wife in the other episode, so she will do stuff out of
questionable things.
Yeah, she'll make it happen, Captain. Well, let's get we dogged on this enough, and you're talking about good things. Well, let's get some redeeming features. Yes. Once again, thank you to Synthetic Ensign for that lovely tune. Copyright free, no less. We love those. Yeah, so redeeming features. I'll kick it off this time. I feel like the most redeeming feature is Kes versus Kes. We have Kes playing with plants. Look how wonderful they are. And then angry Kes going, shut up, and throws her in a closet drawer. You know, I thought that was hilarious. I laughed so hard when that happened. It was like, she just knocked her out and threw her in a drawer. I also love that cake that Janeway had for two. It literally looked like a helmet with like a candle on it. It was so all the redeeming features to me, things that made me laugh. So you guys can choose whatever redeeming feature you want. It doesn't have to be story driven or something that was a catalyst for the growth of the entire series as a whole. For me, it's just something that made me laugh, and those two things made me laugh hysterically. As well as the very little usage of Neelix. Having spoken to him, the actor, and hearing how about 6 hours to put all that makeup on and the details that went into every little like splotch that he had on his face, for him to show up and go, oh boy, bye Kes, and then being like a throwback, and for less than a full 2 minutes, it's like, wow, you went 6 hours for less than 5 total minutes in a whole episode. That's got to be crazy. So Zinga, let's start with you. What is
Tim Ross as Tuvok. Again, I haven't seen it in so long, and I was watching it and I was like, damn, I'm like, he really does a Vulcan well. And I very much enjoy the scenes with him, even though, but I like the scenes with him. I did also love Janeway I feel like Janeway has always been that person who's been almost like you would think she was mean until you had a conversation with her, almost, if that makes any kind of sense. And the birthday scene at the very beginning, how she just builds everything up, and if he did feel emotion, he would have been freaking out. If he allowed himself to feel it, he would have been freaking out, just sitting there mad confused. What are you talking? I didn't do it. Happy birthday.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I also randomly love the cake, because I thought the cake was actually really imaginative because it looks so different. And I was like, hey, what flavor is that cake? I want to know. So I like those things.
They never cut into it. That's the worst part.
They never cut into it, but it just looked like a nice little pearl blue bubble. I just,
Yeah, this is the cake conspiracy. What flavor was it? What flavor would a Vulcan want? Don't they eat some type of weird green jelly thing?
Now I don't want to eat the cake anymore.
Yeah, it's probably some weird green jelly in there with some it comes apart. Jeff, redeeming features. Oh, this is gonna be hard for Jeff. Jeff's like already melted. He's like, ugh.
Bro, I don't know. See, because this comes at a time where everybody is established, right? This is, they have one season left just about by this point. And so the cold open with Janeway sort of giving Tuvok some crap seemed a little bit out of character at first, because it's like, I think he would be able to see through the fact that she's messing with him, but whatever. Sometimes he is a little oblivious to certain details sometimes. Human emotion, obviously. So I mean, that was kind of cool. Just sort of an endearing sort of Janeway Tuvok continuing to establish that they have a long history together, which they do. I love those little moments, those little character moments, and see, that's the thing about Voyager too, is that I mean, I hate comparing Trek to Trek to Trek, but you go from DS9, which is just so exclusively and almost to a fault character driven.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the Voyager sort of falls flat in that area. They're not every character as fleshed out and well established as other Treks are. I mean, by season 6 of TNG, I mean these guys, that whole crew is just a well-oiled. I mean, goodness, that
well-oiled android.
Oh yeah, and they always just they could. I mean, the chemistry between not just the crew but the castmates at that point, it's like whatever. You always got the sense in Voyager that there's just not everything is clicking. All right, so but I need to talk about redeeming qualities. Okay,
yeah, that's what we got. We got your negativity, bro. Now reel it in, make it happen. Come on.
Here are some visuals that I kind of did like.
Okay, there we go.
I really thought that the bulkheads exploding behind Kes were actually pretty freaking badass looking.
See, we got redeeming features. We nailed it.
I thought that was pretty cool. Like you get the bioneural circuitry just sort of exploding because of, I mean, and it makes sense to Kes's character because of the psychic abilities that she has. Yeah, I could totally see that happening, and it looks pretty freaking cool when those bulkheads explode. I mean, I'm always a fan of Tuvok. He's like one of my favorite characters on Voyager, and anytime you get to see him do anything, it's pretty cool. And the small amount of time that we got to see Neelix,
pretty rad.
Again, yeah, nothing against Ethan Phillips. He is a phenomenal actor, and I always loved him and Renee Arjun-Benoit in Benson.
Yeah,
back in the day. And actually, a little headcanon for me is that the whole Benson series was a
holodeck.
Was a holosuite program for Odo. And somehow he knows Neelix for something, and they play together. Anyway, so
hello, Chris.
I'm glad that it the episode seemed to go by quickly too, which is another redeeming quality.
Wow, very low bar. I wish I had a pogo stick for you.
I'm sorry, man. Like, and again, if you love this episode, I'm glad that you do, and I hope that you do. But
not me, but I'm sure there's somebody out there that does. Maybe Kes. One of the things that I can say about this that this is called the agony booth, and this is the first time in a long time that when we get to a redeeming feature, it was the most agonist part for the guests. It was like, all right, now tell me something that's good about it. No, I can't. It's terrible. Hard. So thank you, Jeff. That was
I'd rather have the pain stick, man.
Can I actually make it a little bit worse?
Oh yeah, do it.
The whole bulkhead thing irritated the hell out of me because it actually does not make sense for her power. She has telekinesis. She should have been able to direct it towards the two biological beings in front of her. Why was all of this? Why was all of this?
Wow.
Okay.
And it bothered me.
I love it. I love it.
Bothered me.
Yeah. She's like, what? All this is not telekinesis. This is
I was like, come on now. Come on. It just.
Okay. No,
you said agony booth. I gave you agony.
More agony.
You did.
Yeah. Well, I think that kind of wraps it into a nice bow to where we now have to do the impossible, and that is spin the wheel. The wheel of agony. And of course, you have a bumper for that. Yes, the lovely wheel of agony. Now, Fury is actually a new episode, so if it lands on that, you're going to see something totally different. Just timing for updating the wheel. But
you got the K-pop Klingon in there.
We got the K-pop. Yeah, we were hanging out with Bruce. He was doing a Indiegogo, so we kind of wanted to support him. We had him on. We missed the last part of the second season of Strange New Worlds, so we wanted to have him come on there and kind of have it go so that he could showcase his stuff, and then we could talk about an episode we didn't get to talk about, which was Zombie Bruce. So I felt this is more Klingon theme with the Klingon font, so it's better that we got K-pop Klingon. Some of the episodes that I have to mention because they are chosen from our wonderful patrons: Holly Max, Hollow Pursuits, and Joe Saporito's Magic to Make the Sanest Man Go Mad. Those are the Patreon episodes, and then we have a couple other ones, including the Sanctuary, which is a different Sanctuary, that I hope anyway. So we're going to spin the wheel, and it's going to go now, and it's going to land on something, and hopefully something fun, and then we're going to get into the chat with everybody, and boom, Jason's pick. So Jason, when you return in 2 weeks, you are going to choose an episode of the Wheel of Agony. Jason gets to decide. Oh God, if he gives us the inner light, it'll just be horrible to watch that.
Did you guys talk about that last week?
Yeah, it was an awful. This is my least favorite, but there goes the wheel. And now we're wrapping it up. We're going to go say hi to everybody in the chat.
We were just talking about you. Everybody hates you. Congratulations.
Yes.
Gotta love some Giorgio.
Yeah, some Giorgio non-section 31. Chris.
Section 31. Y'all are some haters. It was fun. Okay.
It was a fun action movie. Other than that, and when we spoke to Data No, actually it was a sit down with myself and Joe Pingway, who played Data No, and he was talking. He actually watched some of our episodes, and he was like, "Man, your co-host really hated this movie." So it's sometimes I always want to tell Jason to tone it down, but then I get so many comments about how much they love him ranting and raving and hating on things. So I'm like, nah, I'm gonna leave it alone. Just Rosie 5. It's a green tea cake. Okay.
Oh, that makes sense. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah. There you go.
Now I do want the cake. I want more cake now.
Yeah.
I just want cake. I don't care.
It was recently my birthday. I have some cake, but if I mail it to you, Jeff, I might have some surprises that you don't want on there.
Totally fine.
Happy belated birthday.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
I don't need cake. I'm fat enough.
Nah.
Whatever. Cake makes you happy. There you go.
That's true.
West says Lurker, who's probably
dude. Come on, you got to do better than that.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hey, Kay Wheeler says hello, Jeff.
I don't know who that is.
I do that sometimes. Kay Wheeler is your co-host at the Undiscovered Pod.
That guy. Okay.
Yeah, Kirker. I don't think that's right. Fart. My Fig Universe is one of the biggest supporters of our show and many other shows on the internet because he likes supporting other artists all over the world. And it's been a while since I've seen that episode, but I don't think that's. Hey, whatever. Leticia says, I saw this in the 90s. I'd rather watch that Section 31 movie than this.
Listen, I don't blame you, Letitia.
Yeah. That bumper is quite exquisite. Yes.
Which one?
There
is no Paris.
There is no Paris.
No, it's Nick Locarno.
Only Nick. Yeah, look at that. Perfect. Good timing. Hi, My Fig Universe. Hi, Kay. I am just glad to see a sister in the Quadrant. Okay. Leticia is a advocate for many things, and she is a native of Mount Vernon and a big supporter of the Caribbean community. She's probably doing a fundraiser for the folks in Jamaica that have dealt with a devastating hurricane that literally was almost the size of the United States. So she's probably doing something. Let's see if you're still there. If you're doing something for that, let me know. I'll put it in the show notes. So you got a welcome. There you go. Look at that. You got a new fan base there. That's so Alpha Quadrant. And we got some more here. My birthday was yesterday. Look at that. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Karen.
Yeah, Karen, happy birthday. Hope you had a great day. My coworkers got me a Bluetooth Section 31 combat. Look at that.
Cool. I've seen those. Those are actually pretty badass.
I kind of want that now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go look into that. Yeah. Oh, that's just neat. See, look at that. Everybody wants your. You know what, Karen? Let me know where they got that from. Like, see if they can email me. It's captainsquadron@gmail.com. So I can go order one and then I can start messing with people. When people call in, I could just connect it to the soundboard. What were you gonna say?
I glitched for a second when she said it because I was like, okay, how much money do you have in your bank account?
No, they got it.
I started doing math. So
yeah. It was a birthday and they got it for her. It was from Amazon.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, it might be done.
I don't know. I'm probably not going to get it from there. I'll probably find it. I'll pay more. I'll pay a little more just so I don't have one more
somewhere else.
Replacing a human. I think 2 entire warehouses were are now ex-staff. They purged the entire staff and replaced them all with robots, and not a data android, just total straight robots, which I think is pretty crazy. So now I want to turn it to you guys. I want to give you guys the floor to talk about the things that you're doing and the shows that you do and the wonderful things that you do all over the internet regarding Star Trek. So I'll kick it off with Jeff, and then Zinger, you can go.
Great. Well, I appreciate that because Ken and I are in the throes. Ken is like my co-showrunner.
I'm kidding.
I know. Who's Ken?
Who's Ken?
So Ken and I are in the process of scheduling topics for season 4 of Star Trek The Undiscovered podcast, of which Ken and I are co-show running, and I've taken it over from Greg Vorob, who's still involved, and we all love him. And so I'm really excited about that. We're going to try some cool things. We're going to be doing same format, same schedule and amount of episodes, but we're going to try a few different topics. I am getting some different guests on there as well, and really looking forward to who we've got on board. And you can find me on TikTok at Jeff Howell 76, where I do more recently it's been more political, just because that's the nature of the world that we live in. But I do have some Star Trek content on there as well. So go ahead and feel free to give me a follow there. That's mostly where I hang out. There and Threads are the 2 social media platforms of choice for me. I think Facebook is a cesspool and Instagram is fun, but not as enjoyable for me to hang out on. And I'm just really looking forward to the next season of Star Trek The Undiscovered podcast, which comes out the first week of February. We will have a bonus episode coming out around the time that Starfleet Academy comes out, which is end of January. And so you guys can be looking for that on your platform of choice.
Awesome. I leave the floor to you, Captain.
So I do pretty much nothing except for watch Star Trek because I love it. So I have Holodeck Host, if y'all see it. So it is Holodeck Host on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. TikTok is where I have the most following. I do a rewatch every Saturday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have been watching Star Trek The Next Generation in order since episode 1. We're in season 3 now. Nice. And yeah, it's like me and a bunch of cool people. We all watch it and then we discuss after that and talk about some of the implications of the writing, which is why you see me, even some of my videos, I will talk about the writing that I see in just certain issues and things that I want people to start thinking of outside of the realm of fantasy, and more so, how does science fiction fantasy actually affect you and your behaviors in your everyday life? I want to get to start posting more, but I do have a full-time job and homegirl will be tired. But that is really, I think, where my lens is when I watch certain media. I want to kind of dissect it and think about what is this medium teaching me to think as far as social norms go, because social norms are not always great. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad. So I do have those discussions. Holodeck Host is really all Star Trek, sci-fi, fantasy, and horror. So I actually just posted a video about the second episode of Welcome to Derry.
Oh, we're gonna watch it. Don't
I will. No spoilers.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet. It's my
no spoilers.
I'm gonna take my headphones off.
I will give no spoilers.
Thank you. But that first episode messed me up, man. That baby. Did you watch it, Jeff?
No.
Ugh.
I don't do horror.
Oh, you don't do
Really?
horror?
No.
Jeff.
Oh my God, I love a good horror movie, but like I love horror.
Just my preference, guys.
Yeah, I know.
No, it makes sense. I love horror.
It's wholesome.
I am not loving Welcome to Derry.
No?
And no. And I
messed up.
I kind of very lightly, it's just, like From was, do you watch From?
Yes.
Okay. From is amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. What's his name? Benoit?
Yes.
From Lost. Yes. He's phenomenal. I wish he would get more roles. He was in Oz and he was in Lost. And I think that there is a great waste of opportunity for some of these great actors. And like him, I think if Tron Ares, if instead of putting what the hell's that guy?
Jared Leto.
Instead of putting Jared Leto, they put Homeboy in there. I think it would have call up numbers if it comes in there.
Yeah, it's definitely good. Like From is probably my favorite TV horror show right now. But yeah, Welcome to Derry. But anyways, that's what I do. I talk about things that I have thoughts on, but that's the whole thing with Holiday Codes because those are the things that I'm into. So I love fantasy, I love sci-fi, I love horror. I'm not really a rom-com girly, to be honest. I like.
This is why we're friends. This is why we're friends. This is exactly right.
Precisely.
All right. Let me leave you with this last question. As we talked about technology that is coming forward into the fray, as Karen McLeod has a dope communicator. What piece of technology that you watched in Star Trek that became from science fiction to science fact that you felt the world is a better place because of it?
Oh.
I always ask the hard questions. That's why I get people on here. And
that was a definite
yeah, that's a good one. While you ponder that over, we talked about Neelix. We talked about a holodeck between the two with Renee. There is an episode of the Captain's Quadrant where we interview Neelix from Trek Long Island, and he talks about the time that the two studios, Voyager and Deep Space Nine, that were filming around the same time, and they ran into each other. And they called each other by the names that they were in Benson.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and that whole moment, you got to go back and watch that. It's better from his mouth than it is mine. So go back. It's in the Section 31 playlist, and then you can go and we interviewed Andrew Robinson, Bruce Horrick, a ton of wonderful, amazing people. Dan Liu from the current season of Star Trek Strange New Worlds. This is just so much fun. We have more coming, and of course, Nicholas Meyer, from the director of Star Trek 6 and 2, as well as the writer of Star Trek 4. All right, I think you have an answer. You have an answer for that?
I do have an answer. Tricorders.
There we go.
So tricorders actual tricorders have not been invented yet, but they have been able to digitize and find ways to get a lot of medical information, which is why we have like smartwatches, track your pulse, your heartbeat, things like that. All of that it was inspired by tricorders. All of that. And they're using it more so in medicine. So that's like home use, right? But there are actual scans and stuff like that are being produced and created to specifically be used in medicine, all because of tricorders.
Like an X-ray.
Yes.
Yeah, X-ray.
Although X-rays predate, but
yeah, because the guy in his pocket, we know the story, but yeah, he's a guy, a phone lineman, realized, hey, I'm going up this thing and it got hot. Oh, anyway, Jeff,
I was thinking 3D printers as replicators.
Oh, but you can't eat anything. But
I can't eat it.
Yes, you can. Well, I mean, they make pizzas.
They make pizzas with the 3D printer, like that you can eat.
Yeah.
Really? I didn't know that. I didn't know
it's not very good. It's like gas
I would assume not.
But
it's very plastic.
But it's like there are a handful of things that you can replicate that are edible, but I'm thinking more of materials. So replicating, they're working on 3D printing.
They're working on
not like whole body parts, but like little pieces of cartilage, or they're 3D printing houses, or they're 3D. You could 3D print, parts of stuff, with different substrates. So and it's getting a lot more detailed, and there's a variety of techniques that are being established to 3D print different pieces. There's a powder substrate that is being used that eliminates the need for the support substructure. So it actually prints inside of this powder that after it cures, you just brush the powder away and you have your part without the substructure, support structure. It's just sitting there in space in this powder that you can reuse after you dust it off.
Wow.
So I know that there's varying sources saying where the idea for 3D printing came of, but there have been some ideas that maybe it came from the replicators, and who knows, how far that's going to go. But being able to utilize technology to replicate parts rather than having to engineer and fabricate it, that's kind of a Star Trek like adjacent type technology.
Yeah. One of my absolute favorites was the iPad.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, Captain Picard, if you guys remember in TNG, had an iPad, and
he had a bunch.
Yeah, he had several of them,
yeah.
And I thought that was pretty darn cool. But I think I want the tricorder. I want that to be real, because I can just be like, yeah, I don't know, Doc, and I scan myself and be like,
exactly. Like, can you imagine how much money you would save?
Oh, seriously. Listen, I have this problem. Don't ask me why. Just give me this medication. I'm out. You know what I mean? It would be great, especially with the subsidies going away and the cost of healthcare skyrocketing as of today. Yeah, what a world. We're in the wrong timeline. Somebody needs to get on the bounty and go back and fix it. So I leave that to you guys. Hopefully you can get the gusto to steal.
We'll just do a slingshot around the sun. Yep.
Yeah, you can do it. Well, thank you both so much for joining myself and the Captain's Quadrant. I think it was an agonist time to kind of we got one from Karen before I sign off. I want hypo sprays. No more needles. Yeah, that would be.
Yeah.
I don't blame you.
I'm not a fan of needles.
They're developing that too. They're getting there. They have it for some vaccines.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you
they have no, I'm just that's like a hyperfixation on a whole other side. I was pre-med at one point.
I knew it.
And then I realized I was poor. But yeah, like the nasal sprays are kind of the precursor to the hypo sprays. So they've been working on the technology because of Star Trek.
Look at that. Star Trek is such an inspiration for so many positive things in the future. If only we could follow that type of leadership. We would go so far. But friends, I don't want to end on a downer. We're going to have a fun time next week where we're joined by the showrunner and one of the voice actors of The Mysterious Chirp, the mysterious sci-fi podcast that's available wherever you listen to your podcasts. So be sure to join us and Holly in the Captain's Quadrant next week. It's going to be a lot of fun. And we wish you guys peace and long life. Happy Halloween. And we will see you next time. She didn't have to leave. I don't know why she left.